Thank you, John and Helen. We are now at the end of the culture series, and with me to close out in our various discussions on culture is Adeola Azeez. Adeola is a seasoned banker with over 30 years experience. She is currently the Sigma Risk Representative for West Africa and was the Deputy Managing Director of Deutsche Bank, Nigeria. She is also a founding member of WIMBIZ, Women in Management, Business and Public Services. Adeola, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Farah.
So let's delve right in. We're talking about the future of culture.
Yes.
And my first question is, if you had a mandate for the blueprint for the new Nigeria culture, what would it be? If you had to write the blueprint for the new Nigeria culture.
Yes. That's a great question because that is forging ahead and looking forward.
Exactly.
One of the things I would recommend or write as a blueprint for Nigeria is inclusion.
Okay.
Inclusion in the sense that we should all recognize the diversity of our culture, in recognizing that diversity of our culture to embrace it, and using technology to advance those differences. Because at the moment, right, if we are not careful, we are going to lose our culture because the current youth children that we have today, the medium that they use for their acculturation is social media. We've got
True.
the culture of social media, the culture of internet, where they all go to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all those media, social media channels that
Yes.
they go to. So we have to ensure that as we evolve, right, we continue to ensure that it remains in the system.
Okay, so
In the sense that the government must realize that if we're losing our children to social media, we have to ensure that whatever is in there and they go to read about the Nigerian culture, they don't lose it.
okay, so
They don't lose it.
one, we don't lose our children to social media. Social media is just the future.
Is the
the present, actually.
It's the present, but you see, we all know today's world. The children are constantly on social media.
And the adults.
And the adults. But you see, the adults are discerning enough.
Okay.
Because they've had the culture in them. The children are sometimes rebelling to the culture that we are trying to pass on to them.
So in essence, what you're saying is that we need to use social media as a marketing tool to promote
Using
our culture.
technology to promote our culture.
But what is that culture we're promoting, though?
The culture that we're promoting for Nigeria is various. It varies.
Okay.
It varies in the sense that the Yorubas have the culture that they want to preserve. And one of the things that is prevalent for the Yorubas is respect. Respect is key.
But is that the future of culture, though?
The future of culture, whichever way that we go to, whether it's future or present, we must all have a respect for one another. The respect is key. We must value our diversity. We must value who we are. We must be self-aware. So in that context, right, if you have to write a blueprint, we must also model the fact that whatever it is that we are doing is the right thing. At the current stage of our government today, we see a lot of dichotomy. We see a lot of things that are wrong. And the government are not addressing it. They are, I don't want to say there's a cover-up or there's a way in which they do not want to accept what it is. And in that process, they just they are reflecting the wrong issues. And our children are watching this. I mean,
So how does this relate to culture, though?
it relates to culture because we are who we are. We are who we are in the sense that when the government and we are trying to sit and watch what is going on. The values which the government depict, or the values that we are also trying to depict, that this is what you should do. If it's not in sync with what we want to do, with what we're saying, it's going to go south.
Okay, so to that, I hear what you're saying, and the one thing that I'm taking away from that is technology is key. Government has a role to play in helping to
drive that,
to drive the message of what our culture is via technology, so that the youths can see what is right and what is wrong.
Model the right values.
Right.
Values are like a fingerprint, right? They tell you whatever it is that you are depicts what you do and how you behave.
I see.
And what you say and what you do.
I agree with you on that. So if we were then to, so my next question would then be, generational change, does that have anything to do with the future of culture? Because we've now talked about the younger people, we've talked about the adults, we've talked about the government. All these are potentially 4 to 5 different generations.
Yeah.
So does generational change affect the future of culture?
It does, to the extent that if we do not preserve the culture of the present, we're going to lose it. Now, you don't give what you don't have. True. In the current scheme of things, if I didn't pass on the culture, the values that I believe in, that I've been brought up with, to my children, now they will take some and they will leave some of it.
Yes.
Right. But in the scheme of things, you have to continuously and constantly ensure that you are who you are from where you're coming from. You are who you are from where you're coming from. And you must not lose that. You must not lose the fact that you are either Hausa. You must not lose the fact that you are Igbo. You must not lose the fact that you are Yoruba. And those traditions, those culture in those ethnic that I just described, they have their own, in the sense that if they do not entrench it, if they do not enforce it, they cannot pass it on. Now, with the current generation that I've also said, again, technology is affecting all those. It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, so I'm going to segue now and ask you a different question. If you were the head of marketing for Nigeria, yes, in this technologically advanced age that we live in,
yes,
what 3 things would you do to promote culture to the current and future generation?
That's a good question. One of the things that I would promote is to ensure that they are proud being Nigerians.
What's there to be proud of?
Now, proud in the sense that the culture of the Nigerian culture, which is evolving, which is adapting, has a way of, they always say that we are a happy people. We're a happy generation, right? But there's certain things that we still do not do right. And in modeling the right things that we need to do, we need to ensure that through technology, right, we can get it right.
How?
Getting it right in ensuring that we continuously use technology to drive what we want to say, what we want to do, what our beliefs are, what our traditions are, that we don't lose it.
Okay, so that's 2 things. The third thing?
The third thing will always be to continuously ensure that as technology evolves, we keep an eye on it and we don't lose what it is we want to continuously ensure remains with us.
Okay. Okay. So you're hired.
I hope so. Yeah.
Because a lot of what you've said borders around the use of technology for the future of culture. And that actually requires designing something, designing a process to make sure that it translates. But how does this then impact all the many Nigerians who've lived abroad, who currently live abroad, who their culture is not necessarily the Nigerian culture, as it were, but it's an amalgamation of different cultures because of where they've lived?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it that most of our Nigerians who live abroad, they have also imbibed some of the cultural values of wherever it is they are. But one thing I have noticed is that they don't lose it completely. It's probably watered down, but they are still sometimes, in most cases, proud. But they need to then have the discernment to know what to take and adapt with what they have and what not to take. So invariably the influence is there, but they're products of their background. So if the culture that they've imbibed growing up, because from age 7, when your values and your culture is formed, I mean you're beginning to develop your values. It says from age 7, that is when that starts. So from that onwards, from what is instilled in you by your parents, the family setup, in school, in the educational stuff, in church, in your community, right? Now, when you go abroad and you then start to live in these foreign countries and you see their own culture, like the culture of discipline, right? The culture of just doing what is right. There's a moral compass that we all have. So invariably, right, that helps to know that they must be able to decipher between what they have imbibed, what it was before they actually went abroad, and from when they're abroad, they should also then know that there's certain things which we don't do here. And I also know that some of the Nigerians who are abroad are proud of their heritage.
Yes,
they're proud of their culture. They're proud of their background. And they are actually getting bolder and being emboldened to actually, fight for what is wrong, even coming back home when they see certain things are not right. They go out there and they try to say, look, you don't do this. We're in a civilized country. And this is what they do here. We must also try to imbibe it. Because the culture of indiscipline, impatient, running all over the place is not where it should be for us in Nigeria.
True. I get that. So what would be the 2 must keep and the 2 should discard cultural attributes you would recommend to the next generation of leaders?
I would say that, you're talking about attributes, reputation, similar. Okay? Now, there's a culture or a reputation which we have and we've had for a long time, where I'm talking about corruption. Right. Now, it's a touchy topic. Yes. It's always on the table. Yes. And if there are 2 things that we can do to try, I don't know how we can discard corruption because it's becoming part of the DNA. But we must begin to talk and not get fed up that whatever it is that you need to do, corruption can only lead us to a place where we will not want to find ourselves.
Okay.
That is a no-no.
So that's one of your discards.
That's one of the discards. The other discard is that we must not be we're very impatient people. Very, very impatient people. Get rich quick. And all of that. And then we should also have the other thing to discard is not being able to stand up. That is the key. We must learn to fight for our rights.
Okay.
Fight for our rights, speak up, and then be emboldened enough to support those who are doing the right things, as always, and then for those who do not, those who try to placate and make us who we're not, or protect us who we're not, we try to do away with that.
Okay, so to summarize what you're saying, the two things to keep is, one, the fact that Nigerians are generally strong enough to say no and stand up for their rights.
Yes.
So we need to keep that.
We need to keep that.
Okay.
We need to embrace hard work and not be...
Nigerians are generally very hardworking.
I mean, hard
so
work
we
and not
continue
quick.
to.
Yes, we
Yes.
continue to do that.
Yes.
Hard work, and ensure that the means that you have are forthright in terms of adopting, going
Good
through
values.
good values, traditions,
Yes.
you know, and just be a cultured person.
Okay, so that then goes to your two discards, one of which is corruption and the get-rich-quick idea. That's the idea of everything now. The fact that we're quite impatient.
Yeah.
And they all kind of interconnect with each other. So the onus is on us to begin to teach and reinforce those cultures.
To teach, to reinforce, to keep the advocacy on, and to ensure that we do not tire from it. Okay. We just need to continue to keep up that advocacy.
Okay, is the tiring part that will be hard, but...
No, it will be hard, but we can't give up. True. Nigeria, as you know, we must keep it going.
Yes, it's the only country we have.
We cannot break up.
Yes, it's the only country you have.
And I was telling you the other day when we were just getting ready for the show, I mean, the words and the lyrics of the old national anthem continues to resonate in my mind.
Yes, you made me listen to it. Yes. And to be honest, it's actually it's a very good national anthem.
In brotherhood we stand, despite our diversity.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And on that note, we're going to end this conversation.
Yeah.
It's been short but sweet, and it's been very impactful.
Absolutely.
I am so happy that you were able to join me today.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm so
pleasure.
excited. Thank you so much.
Good.
So until next time.
Keep watching.
Thank you so much. I'll do the wrap up very shortly with John and Helen right after the break.